Okay, it's Ashlyn and Laylah from the future.
It is? The future?
Yes. We forgot to film the trigger warning, but here's your trigger warning. We talk about
Suicide.
self-harm, murder.
Animal murder,
Like
cannibalism. Not cannibalism, but like use. It's fine.
Weirdos. We talk
Freaks,
about freaks,
weirdos.
death, murder.
Norwegian people.
Heavy Satanism and like Christian hate from like not us hating on Christians because I am one, but like that's what they did in the little thing they hated on Christians and religion.
Lame-o, put a loud buzzer.
Okay, enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Hello everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to the Hot and the Haunted.
I know it's been just a few weeks.
It's only been a few days since our last upload.
We might look a wee bit different.
Just a little bit, like we did our eyebrows, that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, but today's video, we're not hunting ghosts, we're Mayhem lore!
Mayhem lore.
Mayhem lore, and we're not gonna be as loud this time.
Oh.
We're in my super epic room.
If I look like I'm doom scrolling, I have notes.
We're not doom scrolling on the video, I promise. What do we think of the lighting?
Eating.
Yeah. If we say anything wrong about this Mayhem lore and you're like a Mayhem elitis, just correct us nicely in the comments.
Drop a comment, say, I hate you so much, get it right.
Get it right, and then drop a link to where it was.
in the minute and second we said it wrong.
Yeah, you better, like, put the link to the second and, like, to the T where we said it wrong, and then brutally correct us. Okay. But for real, though, we haven't filmed since, like, January.
We might get a little faster on the uploads, guys.
Maybe. If I'm feeling nice enough.
We're both employed now, so
we're employed.
We don't know.
Employed in college. Okay, but we're doing this one a little different. We're both going to talk about just Mayhem, the band, and then we both picked people from the band to talk about specifically. You chose
Anonymous.
I have Dead or Pelly, however you want, whichever. Okay, so we're good, and we're gonna get started. Layla's gonna mooch off my notes. But Mayhem is Norwegian black metal. They formed in 1983. I'm gonna skip over that one because we'll use that for later. So their debut album, forgive me, I don't know how to say this. De Mysteris Dom Santos was released.
I feel like you got it. I feel like it's on the nail.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like you got it on the nail.
Was released, it is considered a classic of the black metal genre. Mayhem is kind of like the father of Norwegian black metal, and if you listen to black metal, specifically Norwegian black metal, you know what Mayhem is, whether you listen to them or not. I personally choose not to listen to them because, like, y'all are kind of psycho. Please don't eat. Please don't eat me up.
Y'all are weird, and I hate every one of you.
Not the band. Those people are they're kind of psycho. Church burners. They were church burners. All of them.
We'll dig a little bit more into that.
Yes,
we'll dig a little bit more.
They did. They burned a bunch of churches and like ran away from the scenes and thought they were cool for it.
Very anti-Christian people.
Yes.
Which, no hate on non-religious people, but there's a difference between anti-Christian and non-religious.
Yes. These were just like religious haters. They just hated religion and thought that they were just.
They hated love. They hated happiness. They hated joy.
Yes. Their first demo was Pure Fucking Armageddon. That's the exact name of it. Okay.
Censor it.
But that was their first one. Anyways, so they formed in 1983, but they were founded in 1984 by Onsted, who was Destructor or Euronymous, which is what they have. And their bassist and vocalist at the time, Jom, Necrobutcher, and then their drummer, Mayhem. I'm going to say his last name. Mr. Mannheim. Their band took their name from the Venom song Mayhem with Mercy. So, like, that was you kind of ate that up.
For a second. The only thing.
Yeah. Their band was involved, like we said, with a lot of church burnings in the early 1990s.
The church burnings, one of the main people that joined later on, Varg, he was one of the main culprits. And Euronymous just really wanted to be a part of it. He was such a poser. Honestly.
He was a poser.
He was like, I read an article that said he wanted to be in it just because he wanted to be in it and not in the background. He didn't want to get caught being in only the background, so he burned a church so he could say he was in it.
Yeah, and he was just like a black metal elitist. Like, he just did all these goofy things, like, this is black metal, and this isn't black metal. bro, who are you making rules for? Because nobody cares.
And he had his own, like, cult following in the basement of his record store. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, they'll get all into that. The reason they did it was kind of to spread fear and violence within the black metal community and, like, a way to say, like, I hate Christians. That was, like, their whole thing behind it. That was the only reason they did it, was to make people scared. No one was scared of you. No one was
Ain't
scared.
nobody. Ain't nobody
Who was scared of you. Yeah, the most, like, prominent figure was Varg, and he was sentenced to prison for arson and murder.
Which he still says he does not regret, and we're gonna put a clip in for that.
Yep, I will clip some things, put some little videos in there, but he doesn't regret it.
He does not.
Okay.
Because he said, what's the point in regretting it if it's already done? We have to move on, we gotta go. I was like, okay.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, Bart. Okay.
But in 1988, Dead, or Pele, sent whatever. He sent a mixtape to Euronymous with his vocals and a crucified mouse as an audition for lead singer of their band. Euronymous listened to that, he was like, I need this.
Yeah, Euronymous thought this was a sign from God. From
Yes.
non-God.
I'll put a little clip of the vocals. He's good, but you look at that crucified mouse and you're like, that's the one? Okay. You're better than me.
He knew what he wanted. He knew the mood, what he wanted.
Yeah. So, Pele, when he was 10, he got attacked by a bunch of boys that got him a really bad injury, and he was legally pronounced dead for like 5-ish minutes. And after he got out of the hospital and recovered, one of his friends, I couldn't find the name, I just remembered hearing it, one of his friends kind of like gave him this unhealthy infatuation about death, and he was like, you're like a zombie, you're like a walking corpse, bro, you died and now you're back to life. And Pele, obviously in a horrible mental state because everything he went through as a child, he was like, you're right. This is epic. And
I love this. My favorite thing, that best thing that happened to me.
Yes, you're my best friend. But, so he got really unhealthily obsessed with like death and like all things to do with dead animals and dead people, to the point where he would wear corpse paint more times than not because he genuinely wanted to be a walking corpse. He didn't do it because for black metal. He just genuinely was like, I want to look like I'm dead. And that's why he named himself Dead for the band.
He loved it.
He loved it. He ate it up. He collected dead animals and would make jewelry out of their bones and just put them on display. He would also collect dead geese and put them under his bed. I don't know what the goose did to you, but
I don't know what they did. That's like also an early sign of serial killers when they kill animals
and collect dead animals.
Wow, which Euronymous loved every ounce of dead.
Yes.
Wanted to exploit everything.
Yes. Dead was also obsessed with hurting himself for like stage performance and for like personal reasons. So he would cut himself in front of his friends and on stage. But one specific show, I think it was in 89, he told his bandmates about his plan to take a knife and cut himself on stage and put the blood all over all the people up front so they'd be like true black metal fans or something like that. And they weren't really fond of the idea, but he was really stuck on it. So I think it was Euronymous who handed him a really dull knife on stage. He's like, he's not gonna do it. And he did it, and when the knife didn't do what it was supposed to, he got mad, broke a beer bottle, and cut himself with it on stage.
That's crazy. There was a big thing going on a few years back about how they like threw pig blood everywhere. I can't imagine like human blood everywhere.
It's like that metal band that got trending, like I think it was last year, because they were tossing around a baby deer that was dead on stage. People were taking pictures with it and moshing with it. Fucking sick. You're sick. That's gross. I'm just saying. And people were like, you just don't know what real black metal is. Bro.
Black metal is not the murder of everything.
Yes, black metal is music. From a black metal listener. Kill me. But, so he used the beer bottle to cut himself and spread the blood everywhere. And obviously it was a really bad injury, and they immediately had to stop the show and, like, wrap this dude up with, like, the nearest clothing around him. And he was like, this is fucking epic! And they're like, no, it's not. No.
And then they still were like, he's perfectly fine.
He's fine, and he doesn't need medical attention.
Yes.
He doesn't need a psychiatrist, nothing. And then they fixed him up, and I think they finished the show. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
They probably did. Knowing them, they probably did.
Yeah. Around a holiday, I think it was Easter, I don't remember, but all the bandmates, they kind of shared like a big house or whatever in Norway. Pally was from Sweden, so he literally just drove all the way to Norway to be with these people and hang out with them. So he didn't have any family nearby, and everyone went around Norway to go to their family, and he was just left at the house by himself. And they would call him and talk to him, and they described him as, like, happy and upbeat and really excited. And this guy is an introvert who is just a weirdo.
Mentally ill to the core.
So they were like, that was kind of odd. But no one went and checked on him. No one went there, no one said anything. Dad would bury his stage clothes and dig them up to wear them a night before a concert. Like, he'd bury them, and he would wait till the morning of the concert to undig them so he could smell again.
That's not how that works.
Hellhammer. Before the shows, Dad used to bury his clothes into the ground so they could start to rot and get that grave scent. He was a corpse on stage. He once even asked us to bury him in the ground. He wanted his skin to become pale. That was the exact quote from Hellhammer.
Oh my god. No signs. No signs.
He's fine.
No signs of mental illness.
It's okay. But, throwback to the little house. Dad had wrote a suicide note that I will, like, clip the thing into it so you can pause and read. But he had wrote his little suicide note, and he had self-harmed. He slit his wrist and shot himself with a shotgun. And he was there, dead, for, I think, either a day or two. And then, here comes Euronymous.
Euronymous, he saw his suicide, and instead of feeling very concerned, like a concerned friend, he was giddy. He was excited. He was enlightened. He called all his friends and went, oh my god, something amazing just happened to Dad. And they're like, what? What happened? He's like, he just killed himself.
But before that, he couldn't get the door unlocked. So he got a ladder. He went and bought a ladder, climbed into the window, saw that, went down the ladder again to buy a camera.
And then took a picture of the crime scene, said, I'm going to send you all the pictures, guys. Don't worry. You're going to get everything.
He posted his dead body, too.
Yeah. And then that's where his obsession just began a turmoil, okay? He photographed the crime scene and submitted it to be their newest album cover, okay? He took the necklace, he took parts of his bone and put it as a cute little necklace. Not cute, but like cute little necklace.
He thought it was cute. He thought that was cute.
At his concerts, he would sell it to not just anybody. He wouldn't sell it to anybody. He would sell it to the truest black metal fans in the crowd. Mm-hmm. He would take them and sell them. And then he kept a part of the bullet from the crime scene because, you know, he's a collector. As you see, he wants to get everything. And then he took Dead's skull. He took Dead's skull and tried to sell it at an auction and sold it to somebody. Yeah. Because there's really weird people online.
I think it was a piece of his skull. He didn't take his actual skull.
He took his skull.
He did?
No.
I'm about to say no.
A piece of his skull. We're not laughing about this because it's hilarious. We're laughing about this because we keep...
It's sick. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's gross.
Why would you do that?
I'm nervous.
Why did you do that? But Euronymous used Dead's suicide to foster Mayhem's evil image and claimed Dead had killed himself because black metal had become trendy and commercialized. So Euronymous saw his friend that killed himself, and instead of being very sad, he exploited it and used it as merchandise.
His friend who showed very obvious signs of mental illness and like unhealthily obsession with death, and you just profited off of it.
Yeah. And then his suicide marked the point at which Euronymous just became completely 180. Turned completely 180. The black metal scene began with his obsession with all things satanic and evil. So Dead's suicide really like marked that point where they just flipped over and were like, everything sucks. Love.
I hate everyone.
I hate love. I hate happiness.
And I hate you Christians.
Oh my god.
Freaking evil beast.
Okay, Euronymous, formerly known as Austin Arseth, was born March 22nd, 1968 in Norway. I think Dead was the only one that was not located in Norway.
He was Swedish. He was
the only one in Sweden.
And he joined in 89, I think?
Yeah. So, Euronymous was the founder of Mayhem in 1984. So, he founded it in 1984, and he was the lead guitarist, right? Mm-hmm. See, I'm not really known for the Mayhem stuff, so I'm fact-checking with her as I'm doing it.
Yes. I'm not a poser. I listen to the black metal. I listen to the black metal. Not Mayhem.
Not Mayhem.
Sorry.
I didn't know about this. Sorry, rain check. I didn't know about this at all until like 20 minutes, like before we graduated high school. It's
yeah,
just
we
like,
watched a bunch of documentaries in class. Like, you wouldn't know about this? And we watched it a bunch in class because we had nothing else to do.
But Euronymous' morals were he openly opposed concepts like peace, happiness, fun, compassion, viewing them as weak. He hated those things.
Stop being whimsy!
Instead, he found gratitude in destruction and violence. He loved those things, hated anything happy. He's such a poser. I think Euronymous is such a poser. I don't like him.
Yeah. I felt like he was trying too hard to be edgy.
Also, I've seen so many TikToks on my research train where people are putting roses on his grave and worshiping the ground he walks on. That's not okay.
Don't worship weirdos, please.
Because whenever we get down to the storyline, you're gonna see he's psychotic.
Mm-hmm.
He's psychotic. Mm-hmm. Okay. But he owned a record store called Helvet, which means hell, and what was it? Norwegian?
Yeah,
Norwegian. Okay. And it's in Oslo. And according to what I've seen, it's now a bakery. So that's crazy.
I think it's a bakery with the record shop, because I also saw that you could go there and they still have all the original stuff up there and a bunch of records. I think it's mixed with.
That's so random.
It's either next to a bakery or it also has a bakery in it.
Because I know there was a record store in Norway, right where the Helvet was, and everyone's the people that own it were this is not Helvet. Helvet is now a bakery. We're located right next to it. Okay. Oh. So it's if you want to go there, you're going to get some sweets, okay?
Yeah.
But the Helvet in its prime was where musicians often met in the shop's basement. You probably have seen a bunch of images, has a bunch of graffiti on the wall. And the members of Mayhem in the 1990s were in there. 2 members. But it isn't closed. Obviously, you can't go down there anymore. Maybe you can. Do they do tours down there?
I mean, I think you could just walk in there, the basement, because there's not much in there except mayhem on the wall.
Yeah. But many people that came to those events looked up to Euronymous heavily. They thought he was a god. They thought he was insane because he helped cultivate and solidify the death metal, black metal scene. The scene was known for its extreme music, the screamos, she knows more than me. You know more than me.
Very dark vocals. I view their little basement cult more like a boy club, because y'all are just getting together in a little circle in the basement and you're just we love you, we love you.
Mommy said I had till 10.
Yeah, I can go. My curfew's 12 tonight. It's Saturday.
But they incorporated it. If you look at the lyrics and just decipher what they're saying, even if it's in a different language, the translation usually incorporates themes of the darkness, anti-Christian values, and paganism. But Euronymous, at the same time he was opening Helvet, he had Helvet going. Helvet was not that good in business. Helvet, he kind of had to close it down multiple times from what I've seen. But he started an independent record label so Mayhem could produce their music independently, and it was called Death Like Silence Productions, and it was based in Helvet. But when I'm going to fast forward a little bit, okay, because there's a big gap in between when the production, because they were going smooth with productions, and then Dead killed himself, and then they all started having all this disagreements, and then one of the members, Varg, started doing these church burnings, started leading these church burnings, and Euronymous was in them. And Varg, on January 1993, he went to an interview for this big Norwegian magazine, and it was planned by Euronymous and Varg, but Euronymous did not understand what Varg was going to do or say, and so he goes up to the newspaper, the Journal, and he says, I burnt the churches. I was the one. Even though, because they've been trying to find the culprit for years after the burnings, and that interview, he just admitted to burning all the churches, and he admitted to killing a man in Lillehammer. I think I'm saying that right, Lillehammer.
Yes, he did kill, this older man had, I think it was after this bar thing that they were doing, approached him, and he was trying to have homosexual relationships with him, and he was okay, follow me to these woods over here, and he just murdered the man. I think he stabbed him 16 times in the woods and left him there.
That's not in my notes.
But that's what happened.
That's not in my notes.
That's what happened.
But gay people aren't bad, okay?
Why would you queer bait that grown man?
Gay people aren't bad people.
I don't think he was gay. He was just I want to kill you.
Okay. See, this is what people oh my god. It's those people.
Varg wasn't gay. The old man was. I think he wanted to just have sexual relationship with him, but Varg was Okay.
You thought.
You thought. You're evil. You're evil.
Okay.
If you're watching this, you're evil.
Watching this.
He's watching from
You're
prison.
jail cell. Jail cell.
You're watching
We'll get
from
into
prison.
why he's in jail. Well, he's not in jail for that. Actually, he got detained for the burnings and the murder, but they just let him go because they didn't have enough evidence because it had been so long. So they didn't really arrest him for that.
Yeah.
But he claimed he killed the man, which Hieronymus didn't know he was going to say all that. Hieronymus was like,
whoa.
what are you doing, bro?
Hey, buddy, shut your mouth.
Oh my god. But they, in the journal, it was really scary because they presented themselves in such a demeanor where it was like cult-like, and it was very satanic. They said, quote unquote, satanic terrorists is what they gave, is what the vibes were from the interview. But Hieronymus, because of all the feedback they got from the interview, it was not good. And then they knew Varg was from Mayhem, the band, and they knew all the members in Mayhem, so they were very much eyes on Hieronymus and every member of Mayhem. So obviously, Helvet didn't get that much business to begin with, but now after that, they definitely didn't get any business because the police were on their tail. So Hieronymus decided to shut down Helvet because it began to draw attention of everybody.
Like 80 times.
Yeah.
Bankrupt part.
For the last time.
Yeah.
But on the night of August 10th, which is actually coming up, but it was in 1993, and Varg and Blackthorn drove from Bergen to Hieronymus' apartment in Toyengata in Oslo.
In Oslo.
I'm not Norwegian. She's not Norwegian. Hush your mouth.
Hush your mouth.
Hush your mouth.
Yeah, hush your, let me learn you something.
But Blackthorn and Varg drove all the way to Hieronymus' apartment and just to sign a contract. Just to sign a contract, guys. And show some riffs that Blackthorn was working on for the band. Okay, guys.
Do you mean Darkthorn or Blackthorn?
It says Blackthorn.
Okay, I'm thinking of Darkthrone. My bad. Darkthrone is good. They did hang out with Mayhem people, though, but their music's pretty good.
But Blackthorn. Yeah. So they were like, oh, we're gonna go get him to sign the contract and show some whiffs. And when they got there, Varg was trying to get in the house. Blackthorn did not go inside. Blackthorn was outside smoking, and Varg climbed up the stairs. And while he was smoking, Varg was trying to get in to Hieronymus' apartment on the 4th floor. He was climbing those stairs. He was getting to him to sign this contract, guys.
He needed to sign this. Sign it now.
So he met Hieronymus at the door to hand him the signed contract. But when he stepped forward, confronted Hieronymus panicked and kicked him on the chest. And so Hieronymus kicked him out. Hieronymus kicked him in the chest, ran to the kitchen, and Varg thought, oh my god, he's grabbing a knife. So instead of just running away, they got into a tussle, and Hieronymus died because Varg stabbed him 23 times.
That's too much. Like, stabbing someone is like that's enough. 23 times. You had to premeditate that. You had to think about that.
Yeah, he was like, they were tussling. He thought he had a knife. Self-defense 23 times.
That's far beyond self-defense. That's pure murder. You knew what you were doing.
Oh my
I'm not
God.
laughing because it's funny, but it's just like, dude.
It's just preposterous. It's
why
insane.
you didn't have to stab him in the first place. 23 times. You're evil. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah, his body was found in the stairwell on the 1st floor. And they were on the 4th floor. So they
was tussling.
They were
Down
tussling.
them stairs.
And he had 2 to the head. Talking about stab wounds. 2 to the head, 5 to the neck, 16 to the back. And Varg contends that most of Hieronymus' wounds were caused by broken glass because they struggled and they fell on a lamp. So that's where all the
you ain't lying to nobody.
That's where all the stab wounds went. I'm just laughing because we're not stupid.
You're not fooling no one, especially not the police.
Oh my god. And then a lot of people believe he stabbed it. Barely anybody believes, oh, you just fell. Okay. But
you fell on glass 23 times with no glass stuck inside your body.
Well, maybe he stabbed him once and he got stabbed 22 times. Yeah. But Necro Butcher, which I think was a member of the band, he believes Varg killed Hieronymus due to the death threats he received, because apparently Hieronymus was giving him death threats from, I think it was the interview that they got, he was starting to give him death threats.
Hieronymus was just a bitch. he like
He was a bully.
he was a bully and he was just trying to be some elitist, like he was better than everyone else because everyone liked him in that little circle in the basement and everyone looked up to him and he thought that he had some superiority to everyone and could act how he wanted to.
Yeah, so Necro Butcher believed that Varg went to his house with the intent to kill him, not just, oh my god, you have a knife! Ah! Okay, so, but Necro Butcher also intended to murder Euronymous. So, he had not one, but 2 people coming after him.
Probably more, too.
Because Necro Butcher, after Dead's suicide, Necro Butcher got so mad at Euronymous because he's just tastelessly capitalizing on Dead's suicide.
I think it was Necro Butcher who told Euronymous, like, don't fucking talk to me until you delete that picture. Do not talk to me.
Yeah, because he sent not the picture not just to a few people. He sent it to everybody.
And used it as an album cover that has now been taken down. You can look it up, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's a dead person. Why would you want to look at that? But you could find it. It's not pretty, but...
But Varg, to this day, I was watching recent interviews of him in prison, because he's still alive and still in prison. And they were, like, talking, like, do you regret anything? And he was like, only thing I regret is not killing the other dude. Only thing I regret. Like, he was joking about it. He was saying that he shouldn't regret anything. She's going to pull up the video. I sent her a TikTok about it.
Just asked me if, do you regret anything, And I told him that, yeah, sure, I regret I didn't kill the other guy as well. And of course they made a big deal about it. But,
I think Euronymous is a little prick.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Necro Butcher. Who was with him when he went to go kill Euronymous again? Necro Butcher?
Blackhorn. Or... what was the second I pull my notes away? Blackhorn. Wait, hold on. Let me find it, guys.
I forgot who it was that...
Blackthorn.
In an interview was like, I wanted to kill Euronymous, but Varg got to him first, so like, whatever. I mean, at least he's dead.
Yeah, Euronymous hated everyone and hated anything.
He just hates joy. He hates joy.
And then they made a movie about it, but I've heard it's completely biased because it's from the band that was kind of like buds with Mayhem, but did them over.
Yeah, it's not like fully accurate. There was also a rumor that Euronymous tried to made soup out of Dead's like skull and stuff. That's a rumor that was confirmed false, by the way. The necklaces are true though, so don't fall for propaganda. Keep your glasses on and look tight, alright?
Yeah, he only took his bones.
He didn't cook him. He didn't cook him. He didn't do that.
But yeah, if you think about, there is a movie about it. What's it called again? God, I forgot.
Metal Lords of Chaos or something?
Yes, Lords of Chaos. And the only thing I know about it is got Kieran Culkin.
And he a bad.
Wait, not Kieran. Yeah, it's Kieran Culkin, right?
Cool. Oh no, he a baddie.
No, Kieran Culkin's the guy. Oh my god. Rory Culkin.
He a baddie.
Yeah, he's a baddie, but it's not accurate. So don't watch it being like, oh my god, this really happened. No.
If you want more in-depth detail, there's plenty of YouTube videos that are just like start to like present, because they're still a band with 2 of the original members who weren't really a part of all that monstrosity. They were just kind of there making music. So they have those 2 members still. I think Hellhammer's one of them, and some other people, and they're not psycho. So, but they still make music and tour.
Their lineage is very psychotic.
I think they're on tour right now, actually.
But I remember actually when they were trying to produce new music, the family of Euronymous told the band, hey, can you take Varg's bass lines out? I don't want Varg's basses.
And they didn't.
So you could still hear Varg's bass lines in the earlier albums.
Yeah. I don't think they didn't take them out of the earlier ones, but I think the new music they posted, they had someone else do the bass lines. So they kept his riff, they just had someone else record it.
That's so weird. How do you even do that?
They just copied his
Do you Okay, never mind.
Whatever.
Okay.
That's kind of it for Mayhem lore. Our uploads. Listen. I can explain. I work 40 hours a week. So technically the only times we can really record are either Mondays, Wednesdays-ish, possibly, or if we both take off of work at the same day to go do it. And we kind of live in the middle of nowhere interesting. So if we did want to film like a ghost hunt, we'd have to go somewhere and probably get arrested for trespassing.
We could still go to cemeteries. I think that's still a viable
If you bail us out, we'll go somewhere. Send me the bond money.
Yeah. Drop the Venmo's right here.
Here's my Venmo, here's my Cash App. Don't hack me, please. But, so, we're going to switch it up. Instead of, so we're going to have 2 different fonts on our channel. The Hot and the Haunted, which is where we just talk about, ghosts and, things like this. we wanted to do Mayhem because like we were both on a Mayhem kick from school.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just do it. Let's just do it. And then was it Paranormal
Prancing.
Mhm.
Paranormal Prancing, my idea. Haunt and the Haunted, her idea.
Yeah. So Paranormal Prancing, you tell me. We just hunt ghosts.
We Paranormal Prancing.
We're looking for the ghost.
If you expect us to be skipping, we're not gonna be skipping. We're gonna be
No.
prancing.
I have asthma, no skipping over here. Okay.
So she's really the reason why we can't do anything.
Whatever. All my years of vaping in middle school.
Oh my lord. Okay.
Okay, that's about it. We look different though. The lighting may not put us to justice, but my hair is purple.
My hair is blue and green and aqua and every color
Yes,
combined.
I have black and purple now instead of black and red. And I don't have that ugly crimp. Sorry. No more ugly crimp.
What ugly crimp?
From the video we posted in January, the crimp was just really frizzy and short, and I just hated it.
I don't remember you looking bad.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. But I don't have that micro baby, somewhat short bangs, and just the bulk. I got my little shag.
Beautiful.
This is just an about me, guys. And I got the blue hair.
We graduated. Yes, we graduated.
We're going to college. And what are you going to college for?
History major.
Music major.
One of the only music majors in Louisiana right here.
Okay. It's going to be hitting my paycheck anytime.
Anytime. Real soon, $5 hitting Layla's account.
But drop a comment if there's something really, because I know the Conjuring movies are coming out soon and Annabelle's going on tour. So if you want us to talk about the Conjuring stuff, cool. We know that like the back of our hand. We both were raised with horror stuff. So drop it in the comments. Anything you want us to yap about on the Haunt and the Haunted, drop it in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Any place, if you know where we live and don't want to dox us, and you want to talk about a place nearby, drop it in the comments.
So, like, think of, like, Ruston, Louisiana to Hammond, Louisiana. Anything between there. I'll put a map of Louisiana and I'll trace out anything from there that you know is kind of haunted or has some sort of paranormal activity. Or even if they don't and you just want us to explore it. Like, because we don't have to just do ghost hunting. We could hunt for ghosts, we could just explore, and we could just,
Yeah, and that could be Paranormal Prancing, our little segment. So it's going to be Haunt and the Haunted, Paranormal Prancing.
Exactly.
And maybe we will get better equipment for Paranormal Prancing.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't have another mic incident.
Yeah. I'll turn her down next time.
I wasn't purposely
So-
being... Well, no, I knew I was purposely being loud.
Yeah, you admit it.
But I didn't know it was going to be that Like, even the times I didn't think I was being loud, everyone in the comments were like, oh my god!
Shut your bitch ass up. Shut up.
But, okay.
Bye.
Bye!